Coming up on Nittany Game Week.
Dude's a great quarterback, and we got to be able to stop that.
UCLA gashes the Nittany Lions' run defense. What makes catching up to and bringing down quarterback Nico Iamaleava so difficult for PSU's linebackers?
There's going to be a lot out there to divide, and we got to tune all that out and stick together.
There's no sugarcoating it. It's a historic upset to the Bruins. The way Penn State is dealing with the shocking loss and the major reasons why it happens.
Driving up to games for her was like Christmas morning.
And it's a watch party that features the everlasting spirit of a true blue Penn State fan, where the forever bright blue and white fundraiser takes place and who it benefits. This is Nittany Game Week. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski alongside former Nittany Lions coaches Jay Paterno and Tom Bradley. Gentlemen, it's been a long time since we've had to discuss two consecutive Penn State losses, yet here we are. And this setback in California is a tough one to comprehend as Penn State ends up on the wrong side of a historic upset.
Well, nobody saw this coming. Everybody figured this was the get-right game, go out there in UCLA. And you know what? Give credit to UCLA. They came to play, and Penn State just had a tough day.
They sure did, but anytime you go on the road, you can anticipate that and the travel. It's a long haul to get out there. But I'll tell you what, UCLA, they came with a purpose. They went after it, and once they got going, it became something that was going to be tough to stop.
Yeah, highly motivated team. It is not easy to say why the upset happened. We can discuss what and how it happened in our opening drive. A little strange to see a game in a mostly empty Rose Bowl. First time UCLA hosts Penn State in a Big Ten regular season game. Nittany Lions come onto the field a 25-point favorite. UCLA quickly establishes the run and never stops. 77 plays for the offense, 269 rushing yards, almost 40 minutes time of possession, Jay.
Well, UCLA was very well organized for a team that just found out that their coordinator was going to be calling plays 2 days earlier. They got the lead early, and then throughout the rest of the game with the lead, they were running the ball, running the clock down, running the ball, running the clock down, and frustrating Penn State, no question.
And Tom, the QB, Nico Iamaleava, just gashes them on the ground all day long. Penn State is slow to set up a spy on him with Tony Rojas not able to play. Give us an idea how big of a headache a running quarterback can be for a defense.
You always have to be alert for that when the guy can run the ball. And I'm not saying everybody's making a big deal about this spy thing. Hey, listen, you have rush lanes, you have different things. Guys should know, hey, this is the type of guy we're facing. When you're playing a guy like him, you're going to be a little bit different than if you're playing somebody else.
And even if he is in front of you, it's not easy to bring him down. After the game, I talked with a couple of the linebackers about UCLA's offense and not being able to get them off the field.
We knew he can definitely beat us with his legs. I mean, he's a great quarterback all around, throwing and running. I mean, just the way he was able to make plays out of nothing. I mean, dude's a great quarterback, and we got to be able to stop that.
They're the underdogs. They're at home. Everybody counted them out, so they got that mindset. That they had that hungry mindset, and I feel like they definitely came to play. Obviously.
Yeah, Nico was very efficient throwing the ball. 17 of 24 for 166 yards and 2 scores.
On offense, they leaned heavily on their quarterback, Drew Aller, and really played pretty well, made a lot of good plays, but it's usually not a good sign for team's leading rusher is the quarterback.
No, that's not a good sign unless you're in a quarterback-run offense, but that is not when you have a drop-back quarterback and he's your leading rusher.
Drew showed a lot of fight in this one. We've seen in back-to-back games, 4th down calls for Aller to run the ball get stuffed. 2 issues to mention, Jay, is the lack of production from the passing attack. Aller doesn't even have 1,000 yards passing, and the leading receiver is a little over 200 yards for the season. The lack of touches for Kaytron Allen is the other.
No question. When you look at the outside, people are going to challenge them on the outside to beat them. And when they do that, you better be able to run the ball and put some pressure to help get them to do some things. And Penn State has not been able to establish the run game, has not really done a good enough job. It's a little late in the game getting the tight ends involved because they were already behind, but they're going to have to really lean on those guys in the pass game.
Aller was definitive in his belief in this team.
Job as the offense is to go out and score points. We didn't score enough points today. I don't care what the situation is. Our job is to go out every possession and put points up on the board, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. And we didn't do that today, and that's what it came down to. But we did fight. So there's no lack of resiliency in this team. We just got to find a way to come out with a different result.
And here's the 4th and 2 play where he has met in the backfield to effectively end their chances. 11 rushing attempts for Drew, same amount for Nick Singleton, only 8 for Katron Allen. It is hard to get into a rhythm for the offense when they get the ball for their second possession of the game midway through the second quarter. The Tom's special teams swings the momentum several times in this game, most notably from the onside kick from UCLA that catches Penn State completely off guard.
Well, that was not something that was decided on game day. They had planned that from the beginning. There's something they saw on film that they noticed, and they were told, hey, first half time we scored, the team knew it. We're going for it.
And that was a tendency that they saw. It's 10-0 before Penn State calls their first play. By that time, the Bruins are beaming with confidence. Jay, the Nittany Lions execute a beautiful punt block to get right back into the game in the third quarter.
Question, that was the moment, and that's when you want the defense to come out and get a shutdown possession. They didn't do it, and that was really, despite that swing, they squandered it.
So that's what and how it happens. Once it's a reality, Coach Franklin contemplates why the upset happens.
Did not come out with the right energy to start the game. And before you know it, obviously they get a touchdown drive and an onside kick, and now you're fighting. They gain confidence, and we're fighting for the next 3 quarters. So that's my responsibility, and I didn't get it done.
Just an all-around bad day for the coaching staff and players all the way until the end. Would have taken a minor miracle to score a touchdown in the final seconds, but the Lions set up for a punt return when it was pretty clear the Bruins would be taking a safety since they had a punt blocked earlier in the game. As you can imagine, been a long week for the entire team. They get a chance to create a new conversation with a victory against Northwestern. Our coaches show us what to look for on homecoming against the Wildcats in our scouting report. More Nittany Game Week is on the way.
The opening drive is sponsored by R&R Express. Every shipment moved contributes to autism research and inclusion through the Excel Foundation. Learn more at wearerr.com. Nittany Game Week is brought to you by West Shore Home, official partner of Penn State football.
We're back on Nittany Game Week. You have to be meticulous in your planning for an opponent. It starts by looking at the tape. Coach Bradley and Coach Paterno, you have some things to look out for in this homecoming matchup with the Wildcats and a couple more lessons to be learned from the UCLA setback.
No question, Tom, when you look at the rest of the schedule, going to be a lot of quarterbacks that can run and throw. And let's talk about some of the things that gave Penn State some problems against UCLA. Again, everybody talked about the mobile quarterback. Here you're going to see Penn State brings an all-out blitz. He gets loose and gets out there, and Tom, without a spy, that's a big problem.
Yeah, not only that, and you're playing man behind it, so everybody's run out of there. So that's not a good situation.
And this was something that happened multiple times on third down last week. Now, late in the game, they make a change. Here's Dennis Sutton right here playing the spy. They're going to bring the other guys up and bring him. He's assigned to the quarterback, but as you know, if the guy that's the spy can't make the play on the quarterback, then you got problems.
Big time problems, and that's the one thing you've got to be able to get that done. And it obviously didn't happen on that play.
And going forward, you're going to see this more and more. So let's talk about Northwestern. Starting with Northwestern on offense. Couple keys to the game for this one. Stop the run game, keep them off schedule, get off the field, which was a problem last week, and find number 17. He's the wideout that can give you problems. And let's talk about how they get him the ball. Here you're going to see 17. They're going to try and move him around and match him up. They get him with a safety here on an outbreaking route. And Tom, you know, as we've always said, if safeties could cover, what would they actually be playing?
Corner.
Exactly. So they find that guy and make sure that they get a good matchup on him. And they find him, and he is capable of making some plays. And you see, nice matchup here. Gets away. He's big. He's a 6'2", 200-pound guy. Now, let's talk about what Northwestern wants to do in their base. Tom, the outside zone, you know exactly what that looks like. Read that in, trying to make the cut off that. But, Tom, I know you guys always talked about getting up the field up front disrupts the outside zone stuff.
Yeah, that's the one thing. If you can get up field up front, especially with your 3 and your 1 ticks, you can push that back. It creates a lot of havoc, and it's not. You want to make it as I don't know if it's even a word, unclean.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I think that's a biblical term that I heard a couple times. Unclean. Anyway, let's talk about Northwestern's defense now. Don't get impatient on offense. They are going to force you to be patient on offense. They did that to Oregon. Oregon really only scored 20 points without turnovers against them. This is a team that has played a similar schedule to Penn State and has very similar numbers offensively and defensively. And again, against UCLA and Oregon, they actually beat UCLA, where Penn State went 0-2 against those teams. So let's talk about what they do on defense. They're going to push some pressure on the wideouts, what you would expect. They're going to have the safety that's deep. Again, he's in another area code back there, not even on the screen. And they're going to use these two guys to be the extra guy in the box in the run game, which means if you can show them run, you got the ability to get behind and make some plays. And we'll see how Oregon does that here, Tom. Again, they get those guys bailing out of there, and now you get the run.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's interesting here. You're going to see a little bit of with the deep safety, as you said, there's going to be 10 guys around the ball, but he's not in the same area code, okay?
Absolutely. Now, third downs is where you really got to make your hay against this team. They're going to give you some exotic looks. They're going to push these guys up here, pressure them. They're going to give you the out throw up to the top. They're going to play far off and give you that throw. Drew Aller has the arm to make that throw, and they're going to bring blitzes inside and drop people and make you play. Really good play by this corner against a really good wideout, Tom.
Yeah, it is a thing, but I think the point you made is very important. That Drew's got to understand, hey, I got to take control of this team right now.
Thank you, coaches. The Nittany Lions may have been on the road, but here at home, one fan's everlasting spirit rallies a community in blue and white. Lauren Bradford shows us how Diane Crosby's love for Penn State shines through at the Blue and White Forever Bright watch party.
We are Penn State. We are Penn State. Thank you. You're welcome.
Diane Crosby held many titles: wife, daughter, mom, friend. But her favorite just may have been Penn State fan.
Diane was the craziest Penn State fan I've ever met in my life. She driving up to games for her was like Christmas morning.
We would go to the football games with Di and Matt, and we were doing that for 20 plus years, and it was so fun for so many years, and it was really because of Diane. Like, she drove everything about the football and the tailgating and the whole experience.
A fan until the end, Diane lost her battle with pancreatic cancer in December of 2024.
For my mom, she was the healthiest person I knew. So for this to happen to her was really shocking. So I think it's really important to raise awareness.
Her family coming up with the perfect way to celebrate her. A Penn State watch party dedicated to fighting pancreatic cancer.
I can't think of a better way to honor her. A golf tournament wouldn't do it. So this is perfect for Diane.
All the money raised will go to the Sina Magowitz Foundation, supporting research and families affected by the disease.
Thanks, Lauren. We know it was a fantastic first-year fundraiser for the group. Up next, we spice up our Impact interview with our first ever guest on Nittany Game Week, Anthony Spice Adams. Some of his Penn State memories and how he created some memorable alter egos.
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
Well, welcome back to Nittany Game Week. Time for our Impact interview. And, this week's guest was our very first Impact interview when we started this show 5 seasons ago, and he has proven to be a very, very difficult act to follow. Anthony Spice Adams, former All-Big Ten, former NFL defensive lineman. You spent 9 years in the NFL, and then you retired, and your next move was kind of like a preview of what was to come, right? You made a fake retirement ceremony video at a White Castle that went viral. Did you have any idea that what would come next from that point on? And it's, like I said, been a preview of all the fun stuff you've been able to do since then.
Yeah, actually, that press conference was kind of real. And it's just like, I told everybody to come out, and that was the people that was there, just people who worked at White Castle at the time. But no, man, it's been great, man. And I've been really just having fun. And this whole thing really kind of started as a dare. my teammates was just like, man, it'd be cool to see you put your own spin on some of these videos that I've seen. And then so I created some and I sent it out to my teammates and they said, yeah, man, put it out, man. Everybody, see how funny you are in the locker room. So now the whole world get a chance to see. So I put it out on YouTube and then, I started editing the videos. I started getting better at it and then I started dropping them every 2 weeks, then every week. And then now it's like, I do this stuff every day on, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and just social media as a whole, man. It's been fun, man.
Because I know back in high school, you started out with your original nickname of Fatback, and you did a skit in high school where you wore like your Pop Warner jacket and did a skit. But since then, you've created Cream Bigums, Old Heads, and your laugh has gone viral. And even the yellow Leon Lemons meme is everywhere. How do you come up with all this original stuff and all these characters?
I think it was just me observing a lot of my uncles and friends of the family that came around the house, and they would like to barbecue and play dominoes and shoot pool and play spades and all those things. And me being the only child, I didn't have any brothers and sisters, just me being around company. I used to always just be taking notes at how people used to walk, how people used to dance, how people talked. Because, they would always tell me, hey, man, stay out of grown folk business or whatever. But it was just me sneaking around the corner, just, peeping game on all the old heads and things like that. So all the characters that I make up is just everything that I saw growing up, being around the house and being around my family. So it's fun to do. It's fun. It's a release for me. And a lot of times people will watch it on Instagram or YouTube or something like that and say, oh, this reminds me of my dad. This reminds me of my uncle. Because I think everybody got at least a friend of the family that kind of act like one of those uncles that kind of embarrass you every family reunion or every time you see them. Scrap, I'm sure you're familiar.
I'm that uncle.
Hey, as part of your acting career, you appeared on the HBO series Ballers. What did you learn about the profession from that experience?
You know what? It's kind of just like football. I'm starting to understand everything that was taught to me about how, football kind of prepares you for real life, because you get a playbook, and that playbook is, the lines that you got to learn. And then when you get out there on that scene, when they put that camera on you, now you're out in the field. Now you got to run those plays. Now you got to make those plays come to life. So that's kind of like my experience with Ballers. And what was so crazy is you get the script, right? You go over it frontwards, backwards. I know it from the middle. I know it from the bottom. I know it from the top, like all of it, right? So The Rock comes in and he's just like, I see him, I'm like, oh, boom, okay, boom, that's him, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Boom, let me get myself together. Boom, I got my lines. He's like, hey, man, hey, what's up? What's up, Spice? He goes in for the hand joint like this. Or no, he goes in for the hand like this, and I'm going with the fist bump. So then it switches. When he sees the fist bump, he goes to the fist, I go to the hand. So now it's just like, it's awkward now at this point. So now we're doing this for a good, it's probably 2 seconds, but to me, it feels like, 5 minutes, and it's just going on way too long. And I'm just like, man. So now it's awkward, and I'm going over the lines, and now it's action, and I'm still like this. He already went over his line. I'm still on mine, like, oh, right. So the restaurant, yep. So I'm just completely bombed that, man. But great experience once I got my bearings all together, man. And I had a good time, man.
You never know what to expect when Spice Adams is the guest. Make sure you go to NittanyGameWeek.com for the entire conversation, which I promise is worth checking out, along with our web-exclusive content like our Nittany Connect network of businesses and the Nittany Game Week podcast. Don't go anywhere, still to come. Tom recognizes his scrap metal winner. No give up in this guy, despite the loss on the West Coast. We're heading into the final minutes on Nittany Game Week.
Scrap Metal is sponsored by Burke and Bradley Orthopedics. Located in Pittsburgh, Burke and Bradley Orthopedics is a comprehensive sports medicine practice, providing patients with the most current and innovative approaches in diagnosis and treatment.
One more item on the to-do list, and I promise we'll put the UCLA game completely in the rearview mirror. Tom with his scrap metal for a senior leader, Drew Aller.
Not easy when you're already down 10. Nothing before your first snap of the game. Drew fought hard all the way through, led the team in rushing, and did his best to will the team to a victory. He stayed as positive as he could after the game as well, and made it clear he's going to do everything in his power to help lead this team back to their winning ways.
Hey, it's trivia time. This last week's question, the Big Ten added UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon last year. Which of those teams has Penn State played the most? The answer was USC. Our winner is Jeff Davey of Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. So now, this week's question. In 1994, Penn State had a 21-point comeback win, which was a school record. In 2010, Penn State tied that record. Which two teams did they come from behind to defeat in those games?
All right, we're coming off a loss, and Jay's going to find that voice, too, as he's lost his voice a little bit here. We're bringing PSU fans and alumni together with our Nittany Connect Network and NittanyGameWeek.com. We're partnering with businesses that support the show, letting our viewers know about their great products and professional services. Make sure to check out NittanyGameWeek.com for all of our web-exclusive content, air times for all of our network of stations, previous episodes and interviews, the Nittany Game Week podcast. All can be found at one convenient location, NittanyGameWeek.com. And while you are visiting the website, make sure to submit your tailgating and your game picks from the game. We always finish with some pride picks, so show us your spirit. For Jay and Tom, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. We'll see you next time.